Americans have almost $1.3 trillion in credit card debt, $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, another $1.7 trillion in auto loan debt, and almost $19 trillion in total household debt across the United States. To the average person, these numbers might seem absurd. That's because they are. In case you're wondering, no, this isn't normal. American citizens hold around 32% of worldwide household debt, but we're only 4% of the world's population. Do Americans understand why we're getting into debt?
People are spending money they don't have.
I don't really have anything to say. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, people just spending money they don't have, and I don't know, they get caught up in late payments and it just builds it.
I think a lot of it, no, it's good.
I'll tell you, I think the government spends money that they don't have. I think that's a big problem.
Our government spending our money they don't even have yet is a big problem, but that's a topic for another day. Why are people spending more than they have? Because it's easy to get a line of credit. Starting at 18, almost everyone is eligible to immediately start spending money they don't have. Until you ruin your credit, you can continue to take on debt. There are entire industries that are built around your willingness to take on massive amounts of debt. It is encouraged. It almost feels forced.
I think it's the urgency that our economy put on us when we're young to go to school after school to get a degree. And they make you believe if you don't do that, you're gonna be homeless. So people are like, oh, I'm gonna go into debt to get a degree, even though I don't know what I'm gonna do. They think that's step one. Well, that's what they tell you, you know? Because if you don't, they're gonna call, you know, they're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna be a loser if you don't go to college right after high school. So that's probably your first step in stepping into debt, if you ask me.
College used to be seen as an added mark, a way to stand out from the crowd. Now, society has enforced the idea that college is the starting point, the bare minimum. As we heard, it is now thought that those who do not attend college will fail at whatever they do. For some professions, like doctors or engineers, a degree is entirely necessary. Societal pressure pushes everyone to go into college, though. And the cost of college has drastically outpaced inflation and wage growth for the last 60 years. For a lot of people, there is only one way to pay for this: debt. If college was the only thing increasing in cost, this might not be a problem.
I mean, it's really hard to survive out here. I mean, that's a really extensive question, right? Why would I think there's a debt crisis? I think there's like multiple reasons. I mean, a lot of people definitely might not want to be working necessarily, but also like it's just the people that are working, it's such a struggle to even afford rent. And like I said, I'm from Seattle, so the rent prices are just excruciating. Like even working full-time above minimum wage, it's really difficult to afford. So yeah.
What does the cost of living have to do with debt? If everything you need to survive is more expensive, that leaves less money for everything else. The cost of living has increased drastically over the last several decades. According to the FHA, home prices have increased between 75 to 90% over the last 10 years. Rent has increased 45 to 60% over the same period of time. And this is just one expense. We haven't even gotten into groceries, utilities, childcare, healthcare, which have all increased dramatically. What makes this worse is that real median wages have not kept up with these price increases. Real median wages increased just 6% over the last 10 years. Per the Consumer Price Index, the cost of living has increased 42% over the same period of time. When everything you need to survive is more expensive, but your wages don't keep pace with these increases, debt begins to feel inevitable. It goes even deeper than this. You're also being taken advantage of.
I think the debt crisis in America is absolutely absurd. I think the whole buy now, pay later is, the wrong mentality for people, right? Student loans, the whole you can borrow money now and pay it back later. I think that's very, very wrong, very corrupt, right? It's just another way for the big companies to kind of make more money off of, average Americans looking to borrow some money.
Greed arbitrarily inflates prices. Financial institutions give people the ability to pay those prices through debt. This is how we find ourselves in a never-ending cycle of debt and payment. So why is America in debt? It's easy to get a credit card at 18 to buy the things you want. It's easy to take out a student loan for a degree to live a modest life. And if you don't, they say you can't be successful. It seems like anyone, even someone with bad credit or someone who doesn't know what they're signing, can get an auto loan. And most people who want to buy a home are going to have to go into debt to afford it. Cost of living increases turn these debt payments into a strenuous monthly affair. You might even turn your takeout dinner into 4 monthly payments with a buy now, pay later plan. We have a culture that encourages specific spending habits. We have corporations who have mastered consumer psychology. And we have individuals who are benefiting from the lack of education that the American people receive. Debt doesn't have to define your future, but it will if you don't understand how it works. What mentality should we all have when it comes to debt? How are different debts affecting normal Americans? And if you're in debt, how do you get out? Over the next 3 videos, I'll show you exactly how to build the right mindset around debt, create a plan to eliminate it, and make sure you know how to never end up in the debt trap.